Thank you for joining us today. The special call meeting of the Montgomery County Board of Education is called to order at 4:30 p.m. There are 7 members present. I declare that a quorum is present for the conducting of business. The agenda has been posted for our review. At this time, without objection, shall we approve this agenda by unanimous consent? Is there objection? Is there objection? Hearing none, the agenda has been approved by unanimous consent. The first item on the agenda is the proposed contract for our CSFO. Board members, we do have the proposed contract. We have received the proposed contract from Mr. Watts. The main items of that contract include a 3-year term starting July 1, 2024, going through June 30th, 2027, with an annual salary with a couple of salaries proposed. His current salary is $194,763. We are looking at a possibility of an annual salary of $199,763 or $203,163. Keeping the same benefits and leave as his current contract and the same legislative pay raise. At this time, I will address each member by name and give each of us, an opportunity to offer feedback on the contract proposed for our CSFO, particularly the annual salary item. Let us begin. To my right, Ms. Erica Watkins-Smith.
I have no feedback.
Thank you. Ms. Mitchell.
Actually, my feedback is that I believe that we should go with the 2,000, 200,000. I think Mr. Watts has brought us from almost the brink of destruction to where we are today, where we have a surplus of funds, and he is well deserving of the raise.
Thank you. Ms. Cloud.
Yes, I looked at some numbers that we were looking at, and with the state pay raises coming, that's going to be it's going to be mandatory. I want to suggest that we make his salary an additional $58.50 to make it a yearly raise of $206.13, or possibly $6,700 yearly, which would make a pay raise of $201,463. I have those two ranges. An increase of $58.50 up to $6,700.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Brown.
Mr. Watts, I first of all want to thank you for the work that you provided to the board. And I was not here on the board when the destruction was going on, but I certainly am aware of the mountains that you climb on behalf of the Montgomery County School Board. And I am very much appreciative to the work that you've done and you continue to do. I know that you spend many hours outside of the normal working hours to get the job done, and that's kind of your spirit, and I appreciate that. And having said that, my recommendation would be the 203,163 with a 2% annual performance-based raise.
Thank you. Ms. Portis.
I don't have any comment. I'm sure Mr. Watts knows how endeared he is by us and his transparency of what he does for the district. I am, I like the 203, 201. What did you say, Ms.? May I ask, Ms. Mitchell? 203,
Ms. Cloud?
Ms. Cloud, what did you say that?
I
range
s-
was?
Two-
203.
200 to 613 to 201, 463. And that would be what the raise would be throughout, that would be his yearly raise. I don't know what it calculates, I had it written down. But it's between a $5,850, $5,850 yearly raise and a $6,700 year raise because he's getting the state raises too.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Between 200, 613 to 201, 200,000, 613 to 201,463. But that's, I didn't know we were going to further discuss
Did
this.
you
This
have
was
any
no
other-
compensation, no annual performance compensation.
Okay, well, here's my comment then. I like the contract as written, with the salary of the 201, 260.
Dr. Keith?
I want to say, like Dr. Cassandra Brown said, I first want to commend you for putting up with me. You know I wanted you to be here. I'm glad you're here. I think we were lucky to have you. I happen to be the conservative one up here, and I'm like, when people are, it wouldn't matter who's asking for a raise. I'm going to go, oh my God. I've done a lot of thinking about this, and I am fine mid-range, no matter what they come. I guess because I do real estate, you have the bottom end, which was, I think I've heard 201 and 203. And then I see on here a raise of either, I think it was, however you're looking at it, it was like 25 to 84. If we just meet in the middle, I'm fine with somewhere meeting in the middle. But thank you for all you've done. I mean that, and I hope you stay with us regardless.
Well, as others have said, we definitely appreciate the work you've done. And because there were some ask-fors and there are 0 offers on at least 3 of the 4, I am definitely leaning toward at least the financial compensation on the salary end. And therefore, I think it would just be an insult not to at least offer the 203, 163. But again, that's one person's opinion. So, are there any discussions regarding any other aspect? And I apologize, I did hear the performance raise.
Well, I just have just a little bit of discussion based on that. I hear Mrs. Cloud mention the state raise. He's going to get that anyway. The legislator requires that, so we shouldn't. I call it penalizing him because he's a state employee and that raise is due to him. And I think that if we are going to do this performance-based, because the contract that I read, I had something in terms of performance, but there was not an assignment on performance. And I think that the 2% would be, that would be a reasonable amount if the performance is what it has always been, superb when it comes to Mr. Watts. And I don't think that 2% is too much to ask.
And I think this is a good time to note that we do want to ensure as we move forward that the evaluations are done, not just done, but that they're done in a timely way. And if those assessments are completed and completed appropriately, then the performance raise would be an appropriate item to include. Did anyone else have anything to add? Yeah.
Well, I was just going to say that he is asking for 20 days of annual leave. He's had 15. I think 15 is good for anyone because he also has the other.
We were not offering anything.
Okay, we're just talking about salary. Any other annuity or anything we're not
No.
going to discuss?
None of
Travel,
those.
travel?
None of
We're just
those.
talking about straight salary. Okay, well, then,
Yeah, when the body let me know that those other items were a no-go, I let the attorney and Mr. Watts know, and he understood where, we were with that. Of course, he would have been happy to receive, those adjustments, but he understood. And I don't think those are walk-away points, but, no but. Yes, ma'am. Ms. Portis.
Would you amend my suggestion from 201, 263 to 203, 163? I see where I understand. So I just want, for the record, amend that.
Thank you.
203, yes.
Thank you. Okay. I'm sorry, if you have something to add, please do.
I just wanted to say likewise for mine.
Thank you. At this time, we will look at the proposed general counsel contract. Item 5. We do have a proposed contract for Ms. Powell, our candidate for general counsel. The main items of that contract include, again, a 3-year term, starting July 1, 2024, going through June 30th, 2027. The annual salary range that was posted is $137,951 to $161,942. According to a draft salary schedule, her 5 years of practice and experience would correspond to an annual salary of $146,675.
could you repeat that, please?
The salary schedule,
146 what?
$146,675. She would get the same benefits and leave as 12-month employees, plus 5 personal or work-life days. You might see it in the contract as work-life days. Those are personal days. The same legislative pay raises as other employees, and an annual performance raise at the board's discretion with an above-average evaluation score. At this time, we'd like to hear from each board member. We'll start at the other end. This time, Dr. Lisa Keith.
I would like to propose for the attorney the 158. The reason being that may be on the high end of when you quoted salaries for past attorneys, but you also got to look at the time. We could go back to past superintendents, such as Clinton Carter, that made 120. We could move up to even during my 9 years, Margaret Allen was, I think, 158. We're now, we're way high. We're almost close to 300. So I don't think, I'm proposing the 158 for the attorney.
Thank you, Ms. Portis.
Well, I was leaning, I like the 146. I don't know, for jury stock, that seems a little low for me. I will say in the middle at 151.
Thank you. Ms. Brown.
I'm comfortable with the 146 that the attorney has brought forth. I'm good.
Okay, Ms. Cloud?
Okay, I had a little bit higher number than that on the high end, 158, because she does have her doctorate. That is she has a JD, which is doctorate, but I'll go with the 151. I also would like to see a 3-year contract. I would like to see that. And also, you know, her office hours, she's gonna be flexible. She may have to be in court, or she may have to be coordinating with, so she's not gonna just sit in her office. We don't ask the CSFO, we don't ask the superintendent to do that. So I want her hours to reflect her professionalism, and when she needs to go and be somewhere. Any kind of, I mean, the list that was given to us, I typed every point it had in there. But as far as her salary, I just don't see where we could go any lower than 151. I just don't.
Thank you. Ms. Mitchell?
I was comfortable with the proposed salary from our lawyer, which stated at 146,675, according to her years of experience. And, you know, because she really hasn't had a lot of experience with school, it gives her an opportunity to grow. And as she receives her performances, we can revisit and see how it works.
Thank you.
I'm sorry,
Ms. Watkins-Smith?
Can she clarify that, please, her performances?
When she spoke, she said that it should have an above average performance.
Okay, thank
So
you.
I'm sure she would adhere to that.
I was just getting an understanding of what you were
Okay.
saying.
Ms. Watkins-Smith?
Forgot. I am also, that was a tough one. This is a tough one for me too, looking at the range. I'm comfortable with 158, but as I've listened to everybody, I too can be comfortable at the 146 range, and that gives her an opportunity to also gain some experience and then have her, after her evaluations, the raises that everybody else gets in the same form and fashion. So I'm good with that.
Okay, thank you. And
But let me ask something. Are we talking about a 3-year contract?
I'm sorry if I didn't say that. That was what I meant to say when I started out. It's in my notes. A 3-year term starting July 1 through,
Okay.
I'm sorry, July 1, 2024 through June 30, 2027.
Thank you. I want to make sure. Okay.
Okay. And as far as my remarks, I think that we all appreciated the research and the work that was done on our behalf in order to come to a logical, explainable decision. And with this salary schedule before us, the 146,675 is something that we can all stand by because it is in writing, and it is the salary schedule that has been proposed for this position. So, are there any other remarks?
I just want one remark. All attorneys have JDs,
Yes, I know.
so
I know. But
Okay.
that is like having a doctorate too. So if
it's
you
the
can't.
same thing.
Juris
If you,
It's a Juris Doctorate.
It is.
We understand. And, you
but
know,
that
there were,
level of education,
But for clarification, I would like clarification because I guess I didn't see it, but or we were negotiating back and forth as to who actually does I think the wording of it was the attorney answered to the superintendent and the board. And I think, I mean, what does it say? Does it say she answers to the board and then consults with the?
that's what the contract says, right? She answers to this body, and she works in collaboration with
Okay.
the superintendent and the district leadership.
I just want to make sure that verbiage was in there, collaboration. Okay, good.
We're fine.
And if it's not, we will wordsmith it and make sure it's appropriate. But yes, I read it more than once to make certain that that kind of understanding remained in the contract. Were there any other comments? At this time, we move to consider for approval. At this time, it is for the proposed CSFO employment contract. Is there a motion for approval of this contract with an annual salary to be stated in your motion? Ms. Brown?
I move to accept the proposed CSFO employment contract with a salary of $203,163 with a 2% annual performance-based raise.
I second.
It has been moved and seconded that we present a proposed CSFO employment contract with a salary of $203,163 and a 2% performance increase depending on those performances. Is there discussion? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor, raise your hands. All those opposed, raise your hands. It passes. We now have a proposed general counsel contract. Is there a motion for approval of the proposed general counsel contract with a suggested annual salary? And please state that salary. Ms. Mitchell?
Madam President, I move that we accept the employment contract with the lawyer at an amount of $146,675 as proposed on the scale from our lawyer.
I second.
It has been moved and seconded that we accept the proposed general counsel contract with a salary in the amount of $146,675. All those in favor, raise your hands. I'm sorry, yes. Is there discussion?
I have one discussion point on leave days. Where is the 5 days added to?
Personal days.
In addition to what we already get? In addition to what board employees already get, is that correct?
No, it's the same benefits as a 12-month employee,
Okay,
plus five additional personal work-life days.
right, plus 5 additional. Okay, I was just wondering why. Okay.
Further discussion? Again, for the question, all those in favor, raise your hands. $146,675. All those opposed, raise your hands. It passes. Well, I thank you all for coming out this afternoon, spending this time with us. At this time, our meeting is adjourned.
That's the quickest meeting we